25 years ago when we had this idea, I know Cheryl thinks she has this big vision. She always sees the forest, but I see the trees, and I was just trying to get to day after day. I thought that we'd be successful, but I had no idea that we'd have eventually 500 dealers across the world that know and love Cannonball.
Yeah, I envisioned it. I'm a visionary, I guess.
Yep.
But I'll tell you something I didn't envision, and that is all of the wonderful employees that we have. It's amazing. We absolutely could not have done it without them. And also our dealers and our distributors across the world. That is the great blessing we have, and we've been able to get to know all of them.
The great family that they are to us. This is such a small industry, and they're family members. They're all dear to us.
There were only 4 of us originally that are still here, and so we covered the whole gamut. I didn't do any of the music, I just mainly did the finances and developed operations for them. I've always liked Cannonball because it was a concept that they came up with. It came to fruition, and I like to see that. I have been with Cannonball since the beginning. Cannonballs for me has been stimulating and fulfilling.
I'm Cheryl's sister. I get to work with the artist relations, the educators, the dealers. Before I came to work for Cannonball, I taught in the public schools band and orchestra for 30 years.
I met Tevis and Cheryl Lockett 20 years ago. I was teaching high school band and orchestra, and I taught their kids in my program. And one summer I was looking for a job, and their kids mentioned that to them, and that's how I ended up working for Cannonball. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in music education and a doctorate in instrumental conducting, as well as saxophone performance. My main job is to acoustically adjust the altos and soprano saxophones. Long ago, we figured out that if we change the inside of the instrument by manipulating the metal, that it changes the characteristics of the tone of the instrument. And over a long period of time, we've figured out where certain pitches are in the instrument and how to adjust those inside the bore to make them speak and be as resonant as possible. So that's where I spend most of my time, is adjusting that to make the horn really exciting to play and to be really in tune.
My role at Cannonball is as the production manager, oversee the process of all of the customization to make sure that everything gets done on them. You know, for example, engraving and the regulation process until it's ready to be packed up and shipped out, and then I hand it off. I got a bachelor's in music from Brigham Young University. I was in the Philharmonic Orchestra for several years. My major instrument was the double bass. I met Rachel, Cheryl and Tevis's daughter, on social media. She added me as a friend. We hadn't known each other at all, but it's important to know that she initiated the contact. It was her idea. That was in 2012, and we've been married for 7 years.
Cheryl and Tevis are my aunt and uncle. When I was younger, I started in junior high playing trumpet, and then when I went to high school, I started with saxophone, and I played on a all-black Gerald Albright signature series. I met Kaylee here at work. Her mom is Marietta, so we started dating. Things were okay for a minute, and then we got married, and we just recently had twins.
One of my recent passion projects was with hand engraving. We, years ago, pioneered a lot of new techniques, tools, methods of hand engraving, and I found out that one of the most renowned hand engravers in the industry, who has built her career engraving out in Elkhart, Indiana, was about to retire, and I wanted to bring her out before she did and pass that art on to our staff. So she came out for a week, trained our staff of 8 hand engravers, and taught them the old art from, we're talking the pedigree from the 1920s, the golden era of saxophone manufacturing, all the way up. So now we have the new and the old that we've mixed together with just these gorgeous pieces of art that we're making and offering to our customers. Our goal at Cannonball is to make the best musical instruments. That's both with acoustics, the way they sound, ergonomics, the way they feel, and construction, the way they're built. It's very important to us that they're sturdy, that they hold up. We use the best materials, and for a customer, that means that you're going to have something that lasts longer. You don't have to take it in for repairs as much. As a player, it's something that you pick up, you put your mouthpiece on, and it is just fun to play. It's something that's exciting and something that you look forward to either bringing home from band to practice or pulling out of the case or taking on the road for a gig. And as musicians ourselves, we want something that is the most exciting instrument that does the job for you.
Cannonball is such an innovative company. They're always improving their instruments. The people who work at Cannonball are as wonderful as the saxophones that they make. It really feels like a family. I feel extremely blessed to be a part of the organization.
At Cannonball, we love innovations. You could be at Cannonball on any given day and somebody will come running out of their office and they say, "Hey, look what I just discovered," and it's really fun. Some of the discoveries are by accident. The beautiful stone buttons, that was an accident. And why did it happen? Because I wanted something more beautiful and different than anybody else in the industry. So we decided to try semi-precious stones. And on the day that they came, they were so beautiful. And the surprise was when we put them in, they really made the horn more vibrant, actually played better in tune as well. So we got busy and did a lot of tests, and we discovered the overtones. There was two ways we measured, and one was in the volume of the different overtones of the scale, and one was in the pitch of those different overtones. And that changed with these stones. We applied and received a utility patent for those beautiful stones. They actually do make the horn sound better. We have over 30 patents and trademarks that belong to Cannonball.
In our acoustical customization that we do to the saxophones, we have figured out where all the nodes and the antinodes are in the saxophone. We're so excited about every note, making sure that they all line up, that the overtones line up. We work on doing that on the inside of the bore as we customize the instrument. We love doing that. We can change all kinds of things and make it exciting for the player. A lot of times we go home at night and we think of the different things that we want to try, and sometimes we actually dream about them. We come to work and we think, why don't we try that idea? And one of them was this fat neck. We thought there's an octave pip that goes in the top. What would happen if we moved that from the top to the bottom? What would it do to the sound? Would it change things? And so immediately we took a neck and ripped out the octave pip and actually drilled a hole in the bottom. We didn't have a key for it at the time, and so we used our thumb as an octave key. And wow, it was just amazing, and the difference in the timbre and in the sound. We're all about timbre and sound at Cannonball, and so it gave it a little bit more bottom on the sound. It took a little bit of the brilliance out of it on the top end, and we just love that. So in our big bill saxophones, we actually have a fat neck and an original neck. There was something that I really loved about some of the old saxophones, 30s and 40s. I love that great big fat sound that they used to get. One evening I can remember taking one of our bells and actually taking a hammer to it and actually pounding it out. When we started in our basement, I fashioned it on the horn, and wow, there was this totally different sound. The timbre was really even and nice, and we actually did several different samples of that, and we ended up with a bell that we now call the Big Bell. It's been very popular, and not only do I love it, but a lot of people do.
So I used to teach Cheryl Tevis's children in junior high band. We became good friends, and they asked me to get involved with Cannonball music with some of the trumpet design. And I've been doing that for about 13 years now. I do the brass design, and I do some prototyping. We do some testing on the instruments when they get in. We do acoustic adjustments to the instruments, quality control, and design. I've always been an avid gearhead when it comes to brass instruments, trying to figure out how it works and how to manipulate pitch and stuff like that. I used to stay up late at night in college and read papers on acoustics and materials and all kinds of stuff like that. It's just a passion of mine that I've always been involved in.
I've endorsed Cannonball saxophones for the past 15 years, and I can tell you this. In any situations that you're put in, whether it be studio or live performances, these saxophones perform. I'm extremely grateful and blessed to be able to use this incredible brand.
So a few years ago, we were trying to figure out a way that we could show that we aren't just people that run a saxophone company, but we're professional players ourselves. We also wanted to figure out a way that we could incorporate our artists into what we're doing. And so we came up with the idea of starting the Cannonball Band. And it's just been a blast because we get to stand up there with people like Gerald Albright and Eric Darius, and we get to make music at a high level. The best part is that we know that we're using quality equipment that supports that.
What we do is not a job. It's people, it's interaction, it's changing lives, it's creating music, it's great experiences. We have a special family in Taiwan that are true family. When Crystal got married, we were part of that, and her father asked me if I would give a speech at her wedding. I was a little bit nervous. There was many people out there. They have very large weddings in Taiwan, and I got up and my first line was in Mandarin Chinese, and they all clapped for me and thought that was so cool. They are still to this day, they are so dear to us. They are truly family. Gosh, 25 years, here we are. It seemed like we started yesterday.
Thank you to everybody
Thank you.
who's been involved in this. We just appreciate you so much for being on our journey with us and helping us all along the way.